Hey, welcome back. We're about to start this tutorial on how to draw and create isolock joints for your boxes. The first thing we'll do is we're going to go through the setup. So I'm going to go up to the edit page here, click on that and come down to job size and position and just check this out. Now I've done a little of the work already, so let's just go through it one step at a time. This will be a single-sided project. This will be a piece of material that's a ½ inch wide, ½ inch thick, 3 inches wide, and the length here is theoretically the width of the drawer because we're looking at the edge, the top edge of looking at the end of the drawer, looking down on it. The material surface is going to be my Z0 position. Normally when we do machining on the vacuum system on the table, we use the bed, but we're going to use the machine surface. Then we're also going to change the datum point. Normally it's sitting here at the bottom left-hand corner. We're going to make it the bottom right-hand corner because this is going to be cut in the joining system mounted vertically in the front section of the machine. Okay, now my first step is going to be to build some construction lines. I like about 80% engagement on my isolock joints. That means about 3/5 of this is going to be dedicated to the isolock joints, and 1/5 of this will be essentially over on this left-hand side, just the material that will be part of the glue joint. So I'm going to start by creating a line. I'm going to go to -0.1 because that's 1/5 of this ½ inch piece, and 0, and I'm just going to drag that up here and let the snap work. I'm going to draw another line at -0.3. You'll see why we're doing that in a minute. But essentially, I'm just dividing this into fifths. Now I want to create a line which will be at x0, and we're going to be 0.75. In my world, I like my isolock joints or my dovetail joints on about 3/4 inch or about 1½ inch centers. That lets me do some nice multiples when I'm building box size. This isn't a hard and fast rule. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the way I'm going to show you today. So that's going to end up being the center point of my isolock joints. The first style I want to show you, don't need to be bouncing that around. First style I'm going to show you is a stacked circle or a symmetrical type. So I want to create 2 more construction lines to land those circles. So I'm going to draw, actually I'm not going to draw lines, I'm going to use the offset tool. And I'm going to set the offset, that's a join tool, nice job. Offset tool, set it at 0.2 and offset to the left and to the right. Now I'm good to go. I know where to build my circles. I'm going to go to my video layer, actually isolock joint layer on the video, and I'm going to start making circles. These are going to be 0.2, and I'm just going to snap there, 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 there. Now for the most part, we're almost done. The next step would be to connect this vector with this vector here. And if you look closely at this, I'll try not to move it around too much. This is going to cut through here, around that circle, down here, and then back out and around here. So we need this vector, but we don't want that one. Now an easy way to deal with this is going to be to go to the node editor and go here, and we'll just start cutting these vectors at the points we don't need them. So now if we go here, we just deleted or just cut that vector. Now if we go back to this circle and we'll cut the vector here and cut the vector here, that we don't need. Now you can start to see that isolock joint. So we'll just repeat that. We'll cut the vectors here and here. And we'll take this and delete it. We'll cut these vectors here and here. And we'll delete this section out here. There's our isolock joint. So stack circles, symmetrical, that's the joint, and that's good to go. There are a couple more steps that we'll go through as we go along. Before I go to those, I'm going to show you a couple of more styles. But the next step would be to set up my tool pass. This is the boundary of the cut, but this doesn't tell the machine where to cut or what the limitations are. We wouldn't want to cut that much material in a single pass. So while I'm here, I want to mention a couple of rules. This diameter right here is 0.2. That means the bit I use to cut the mating part, this is the pins, they will be the tails. That bit has to be smaller than this radius or this diameter. So I'm going to use a 5mm bit, which is 196.196. To cut the opposite side, I'm going to use the same 5mm bit to cut inside this as well, because I have the same restriction on this radius here. So those are my basic rules when I start moving along. I look at the thickness. I try to divide it into fifths roughly. I will use the diameter of here twice this offset, so 0.2, 0.2. That brings me over here a total of 0.4, which is my 80% engagement rule. Okay, now that we've reviewed the rules, we're going to just show you a couple other things to finish this up. This element, or this is made up of 5 different elements. We're going to use the Shift key and click on each one of them and go over here and use the Join tool to make them all a single element. Now from here I could build an array and build as many of these as I want to hold my drawer together. Before I do that, I want to show you something else. I'm going to take this and just copy and then paste. And I'm going to grab that new element that we've created, that isolock joint, and I'm going to use my move tool. In the relative position, I'm going to move up 0.75. So here's another tweak that you can do that you may or may not like. I'm going to zoom in real close. I'm going to create an arc. It starts right here, ends right there, and I'm just going to bend that in ever so slightly. And I'll trim that. So now we have 2 different variations of the isolock joint for 1/2-inch material. Okay, now we're going back to the original design, and we're just going to do a couple other things to kind of finish this up. Lesson 2 is going to be a little different variation because we're going to use 3/4-inch material. We can be a little bit more creative there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my construction lines. I'm going to grab my joint here, and I'm going to build an array. So I want them on 3/4-inch centers, and I'm going to have 4 rows. And when I copy those, I see that maybe that's a little too many. Let's just grab all of these real quickly, and we'll use my alignment tool and align them this way. Now, I think I'm going to be okay with that. For now, we'll assume that we like it. We have some open edges here. So let's go back to our drawing tool, and let's go here. I want to go beyond the end of my part so that as it cuts past the edge. I also need to connect each one of these, that vector there, wait till it snaps, into that vector there. This vector here to here, and this vector here to here. So now I've got 4 isolock joints. I've got a lead in, lead out, and I've got connecting lines, so I have my tool paths. We're going to join all those together, and now you can see that if my bit starts, well, let's unhighlight that. My bit starts here, it'll roll inside, cut out this area, move down to this one, and I'm good to go as far as creating the tool pass. So, basic lesson, Isolocks 101, stacked symmetrical isolock joints. Hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll do another segment about some variations on this, another tutorial. But thanks for hanging around till the end. We'll see you in the next video.